what goes into a successful onboarding plan. There's so many things that we can put in the first week or month or 30 days, 60 days, 90 days even. They're going to fill the time for the new hire. But what is really the most effective thing that we can put there that's going to help them get to productivity the fastest? That's going to help them integrate into the company culture the fastest, right? And as we said in the beginning, we're trying to get them to be productive and be a successful member of our organization, integrated into the culture with the least amount of resources required, least amount of time, least amount of effort, least amount of money to get the highest results. And that's really the challenge of the onboarding plan. And that's what we need to be thinking about when we're building our onboarding plans. Now, I want to share with you a framework that you can use to build these onboarding plans, which I'm calling the 3C framework. So the 3C onboarding plan framework. And you can use this framework regardless of the tools that you're using. I like to use Notion because I think it's the most advanced out of all of these project management tools. But again, if you're using Trello, if you're using Asana, if you're using ClickUp, it doesn't matter. 3Cs is definitely going to work for you. And here's how it works. To understand the 3Cs of building an onboarding plan, we need to look at the 3 components, the 3 targets or milestones or pillars that we really care about when we're onboarding a new hire. And those are company, culture, and competence. Those are the 3Cs. Now, company, here we want to make sure that the employee understands what company they've joined. Like, why does our company exist? What market do we operate in? Why are we in this market, and how are we competitive in this market? What is our mission? What is our vision? What is the company history? What are the company goals for this year, or for this quarter even? Like, we're trying to get them to understand the surroundings of the company and why does this company exist and how are we trying to make this company successful. And it's really important for the new hires to be onboarded into the company so they understand, okay, this is the organization that I'm in. This is what the organization is trying to achieve. That's our first C. Our second C is culture. And here we want to make sure that our new hire is onboarded into the culture so they understand what are the accepted behaviors and how do we do work around here. What are things that are promoted in terms of behaviors and habits and attitudes? And what are things that we don't promote here in terms of behaviors, habits, and attitudes? And the better we are at helping them understand how we do things around here, the faster they will integrate into our culture and they'll just be more successful. They have better relationships with their colleagues and they'll be more productive overall in the company because they'll integrate into the culture better. And that's why C number 2 is about cultures. This is how we do things around here. And we want to train them on that during the onboarding. The third C is competence. Here we want to make sure that our new hire understands how their role fits into the bigger picture, into the company, and also what does good look like in their role. What is it that you're expected to do in your role? And if they need any specific training to be able to match that level, we want to get them to that level as soon as possible. Keeping in mind that we want them to understand, how do I display competence in this role? What is competence? How do I perform in my role? And how does that role help the company achieve their goals? And if we do these 3 things, if we onboard them into the company, into the culture, and we build competence in their role, we're going to have a high-performing, productive employee that's also a good performing member in terms of culture and integrating into the company and with the people. Okay, so these 3 C's is really all you need to have a high productive employee. Now, the question is, how do we develop these 3 C's? How do we develop their understanding of the company? How do we integrate into the culture? And how do we build competence in their specific role? And for this, there are really only 3 types of onboarding tasks or activities that we want to think about. The first one is self-study, where we want them to either read some resources, watch a video, go visit a link, right? So sit and analyze some type of content, right? Consume some type of content that's going to help them get their understanding on company culture and competence. Okay, self-study is the first one. So here's some resources. Go learn those resources on your own. Second one is meetings, is all of the people in the organization that could help speed up the process and help them understand the company, the culture, and become competent in their role. How can we connect them with important people in the organization who can help speed up that process for them? And the third one is the practical one. It's tasks. What is it that they need to do? Like different activities or even job specific tasks that are going to help them pace themselves and slowly get more and more integrated into the role. So now when you have these three C's on the left and you have self-study, meetings, and tasks on the right, you can see this matrix starting to appear, where now my job as someone who's designing an onboarding plan for a new hire is to fill this matrix up. So I can ask myself, okay, I want my new hire to be onboarded into the company. What are self-study materials that I can give them that will help them understand the company they're at? They'll help them understand the market and the company. Do I have any internal docs? Do I have like an internal portal that they can read through? Is there a website that they need to see? Are there any videos that were made? Are there any marketing materials that we use externally that would also be beneficial internally? What else? Like, what are the resources and materials that I can give them? Are there any industry reports that are relevant? Are there any publications in our industry that talk about the industry in general that are relevant for someone who's joining our industry, who maybe hasn't been in that industry before, right? So we want to be creative here and think of what are the different materials that I can give them that will help them understand the company that they're onboarding to. Second one is meetings. Who do they need to talk to in the organization that's going to help them get a hang of the company? Obviously, they need to talk to their manager, they need to talk to people on their team, but are there people outside of their team or department that will be useful to have a one-on-one chat? Is there an employee that's been there forever that could have a 30-minute chat with our new hire and help them understand the story of how the company evolved, right? So it's a 30-minute chat that I could have with an employee that's been there since the company was founded, and then they could have this conversation with someone over coffee or whatever. Okay, so who can I connect them in the organization that's going to help them understand the company? And then tasks, what are the different activities that they can do that are important for someone who is in our company? Do they need to create accounts on certain profiles? Do they need to download some software? Do they need to complete some compliance training? Do they need a certification? Like, is there anything they need to do that's going to help them understand and learn about the company? And then I do the same for culture, and then I do the same for competence. So basically, I'm listing things in this matrix, and I say a listing because I want you to think of it as a brainstorming where I'm just putting sticky notes. I visualize it here as sticky notes where for every one of these, company, you have self-studies, meeting, and task. Then culture, again, you have self-study, meeting, and task. And I want to just put as many ideas as I can of what would be useful as a self-study material, as a meeting they could have, or a task they could do that's going to help them to really get a hang of these three C's. And this could be as many as 100 different tasks or 200 different tasks, where we get to a point where people mention 90-day onboarding plan. This is how you get to 90 days of onboarding, where there's so many different tasks that you figure out that are useful, that are onboarding activities that you can give to your new hire. Now, there's a reason why company and culture are grayed out here in a different color. Because as you notice, when I do this once for one new hire, everything that's company and culture is automatically, I can copy paste that for every other new hire. So company and culture is 99% of the time the same for every new hire. So I do this once, I invest the time once, I build these different activities, self-study, resources, meetings, and tasks for company and culture, and that I can copy paste for every new hire. The only variable that I need to change every time I have a new hire is to think about competence. How do I build a competence in this specific role? And that becomes my tasks when I have a new hire joining again. But even there, if, for example, if you're hiring, I don't know, customer support representatives, when I hire one customer support representative and I fill this matrix for them once, I have this is done. Whenever I'm hiring another customer support representative, I just copy paste the project because I have the whole thing already completed, because I did it once and it's just copy pasted entirely. And this is where we get to a point where it's scalable and it becomes a lot cheaper to onboard new hires, because we do the thing once and then we just copy paste and do little customizations only where it's needed.